morning this morning, and welcome to Is Jeremiah Smith on the Mount Rushmore at Ohio State edition of the OHIO podcast. Do us a big favor and smash that like button. We really do appreciate each and every single one of you who hop on here every single day helping us grow the channel. This is your first time or second or maybe more, and you're not subscribed to the channel. It's free, cost you nothing. Just hit that subscribe button, ring the bell, get notified every time we drop new content or we go live, which we do 3 times a week. And please make a comment down in the comment section below. This is obviously the type of topic that is going to get a lot of you talking this Monday morning, and we appreciate that because the more comments you all make, the more the algorithm at YouTube decides to make our audience broader for this video, and we do simply appreciate that as well. So 3 things you can do: like the video, subscribe if you haven't already, make a comment. We appreciate all of you. All right, let's jump right into today's topic. This is going to be very, very interesting. So as I share my screen here, our good friend Clinton Boring from over at Inside The Pylon Podcast had him on the show a couple Sundays ago. He tweeted this question out to Buckeye Nation and tagged us in it. And I assume since he tagged us in it, he wanted me to give an opinion. Well, Clinton, I'm going to give you an opinion, but I'm going to do a whole lot more than that. I'm going to share the whole doggone thread because it's that good. It's that good. Good job, man, on this question. Will Jeremiah Smith end his career on the Ohio State football Mount Rushmore? Guys, I tend to think sometimes people make comments without thinking. This is one of those. Okay? Like some of the responses are crazy. Now, you have to be on the Mount Rushmore. That means you are one of the four of the greatest to ever play the game at Ohio State. Can you honestly say in one season this guy is one of the four greatest to ever play at Ohio State? Not in one season, no. But the responses of this are crazy. I mean, people are absolutely on it. Here we go. Ohio divided. Absolutely. Amber Holly, yes. Hoodie, he's already on there. No JJ, no championship. That's probably true. That's probably true. But just because you're on a team that wins a championship and you're a significant part of that team doesn't mean that you were the greatest on that team. Plus, it doesn't mean you're one of the greatest four of all time. Does Ohio State win a championship without Will Howard? And if the answer to that is probably not, then are you going to put Will Howard on the Mount Rushmore? Of course you're not. So I don't know about that line of thinking there. Let's see. Buckeye Mob. He already is. Look at that picture. That's freaking hilarious. That's hilarious. I love it. TJ. He's got a chip and a rookie records already, robbed of the blink, so it'll be hard to get that since voters have an anti-OSU mindset. But he's on pace to be the best ever. TJ, I actually agree with that. I think he is on the pace to be the greatest wide receiver in Ohio State history. Will that be good enough to make him one of the top 4 players in Ohio State history on the Mount Rushmore? Remains to be seen. Shane, if he beats Michigan, he will turn the tide back in the rivalry and have a national championship under his belt. This would be leaving the place in better shape than he found it. That is a really insightful comment, Shane. I probably agree with you on that, man. I think that that's definitely in the cards here and needs to be talked about. Sean P.O. says yes, maybe the easiest yes I've ever given. Again, man, is it? Is it though? Jack, yes, he'll be the greatest OSU wide receiver ever. He's on pace to be, yeah. Um, TX Buckeye absolutely will. Noah Hurst, one word, yes. Carlisle, I won't not even know where to. I don't even know where to start. picking our Mount Rushmore. Archie Griffin for sure, but then who's 2, 3, and 4? Okay. Now Carlisle's getting into the conversation that really needs to be had here instead of just a hyperbolic yes from everybody, just a off the cuff reaction. So Archie's definitely the George Washington of Mount Rushmore, right? He's the only two-time Heisman Trophy winner in college football history. One of the greatest ambassadors that Ohio State's ever had in their athletic department, let alone the football program. Yes, he's on the Mount Rushmore. All Mount Rushmore talks of greatest Buckeyes of all time begin with Archie Griffin. Now, let's get into some more of this because some of these responses are going to go down that line of thinking. Garrett Sattler says he has to beat TTU in twice, so he puts a number on it. Uh, St. Juice 19, he's already on there. Seriously. Seriously, dude? Already on there? Come on, man. Between $2 instead of between ferns. That's funny. Probably. A Heisman would solidify it. It wouldn't hurt, that's for sure. But let me show you why it's not going to be solidified. Let me keep reading. Is it blasphemy to put him there now? Not only do we not win the Natty without him, we likely lose another game or two, Joshua says. That's true, but that could be said of a lot of players. We got a gift from Executive Decision 06. Yep. Jazzbo 14, my Ohio State Mount Rushmore. Oh, now we're going to get into it. Jazzbo's going to put some names with it. Troy Smith, Orlando Pace, Andy Katzenmoyer, Archie Griffin. I agree with definitely two of those. Archie Griffin is definitely on there, like we said. Orlando Pace is definitely on there. He's the greatest offensive lineman in college football history, if not the game of football. He's a Hall of Famer in both in the NFL and in college. He was the most dominant offensive lineman to ever play the game at the college level, and they created a stat just for him called the pancake. So, yes, Orlando Pace is definitely on there for me as well as Archie Griffin. But we're going to continue with this conversation. Todicus Decimus Meridius says, I would have to say yes. If that's truly your name, dude, that is an epic name. Ohio Sports Talk, I believe 100% he will be just based on his freshman year. JS4 will go down as the best wide receiver to play at OSU. Magacorn Gourmet Popcorn says no. Woody, Hopalong Cassidy, and Orlando Pace own it. So he's going to put Hop in there with Pace and Archie. And I tend to agree with that Howard Hopalong Cassidy probably needs to be on there. The thing about it is Hop's not going to get nearly the amount of respect that Arch and Orlando get because he's well before all of our times. So you have to be a little bit of a Buckeye historian and you have to appreciate the history of Ohio State and where it started from and where it comes from to put someone like Howard Hopalong Cassidy on there. But if you talk to any Buckeye historian, they will tell you, yes, Howard Hopalong Cassidy is one of the greatest four Buckeyes of all time. Now, he played in a generation that was extremely different than what we see and we're watching now. Um, even even to a degree, Archie did as well a little bit, but he's still considered one of the greatest of all time because of his accomplishments. Howard Hopalong Cassidy played in a time when it was before black athletes were allowed to play at Ohio State. He did it in an era with it was more like rugby. The forward pass wasn't even much of a thing yet. Uh, they didn't wear face masks. It was rugby style rule tackling. Like it was a very very different era of game. However, you have to take what he did in that era compared to everybody else and realize he was better, that much better than everybody else for multiple seasons. Yes, he probably needs to be on there because you can't tell the story of Ohio State football and where we came from and where we are and where we're going without the story of Howard Hopalong Cassidy. So I tend to agree with that. And so MAGA Corn, Gourmet Popcorn, I think you went 3 of 4 and he's saying, meh, there's room for debate. However, he's saying if you're going to put coaches on there, then Woody deserves to be on there. And again, if we're going to allow for coaches, totally agree with this fella. But if we're just talking strictly players, there's room for debate on number 4. And we had the previous person say that he would put um, Troy Smith on there or Andy Katzenmoyer. And Troy Smith won a Heisman. Andy Katzenmoyer was the most dominant linebacker, not named Chris Spielman, right? So there we go. All right, Walleye Brawler, one national championship, two needs the Blitnikoff, and three a Heisman is necessary. He already has one of the three he would need. Um, Awards like that can be skewed, so it's hard for me to say that. Orlando Pace doesn't have a Heisman, so it's not necessary. Okay, it's really incredibly hard for anybody not being a quarterback or a running back to win a Heisman. So if he does achieve Heisman and wins as a wide receiver, that's impressive. Jeremy says no because he won't finish his college career at Ohio State. Well, that's kind of negative. I mean, he was tampered with, right? Like people were offering him millions of dollars to leave and go to their program, and he stayed at Ohio State. Um, was there a hometown discount at this point? Maybe, I don't know. He's obviously not hurting for NIL. I know that, but yeah, he's gonna stay, buddy. Sorry, Jeremy. Will G, 100%. I thought, man, how can Ohio State replace Marvin Harrison? Jeremiah Smith says, hold my beer. No joke. That second part is absolutely true. Like Marvin Harrison Jr. had a great career at Ohio State, ended on a sour note, but Jeremiah Smith comes in, and how quickly have we forgotten Marvin Harrison Jr.? And that's no joke. So, yeah, true statement there by Will. Cool Hand 850. He's already on it. Unless he transferred, he's not coming off. Ah, man. So now you're gonna put whether he is the greatest of all time based off his transfer status. That that seems a little year to year one sided in my opinion. Like this. Keep in mind the Mount Rushmore is chiseled in stone. You don't just replace people on Mount Rushmore willy nilly. Like it's chiseled in stone. Okay. The national champions, he's up there with a chisel right now. So he's taking somebody off and putting his own face up there. I get it. Very funny. Buckeye 365. Just hope our SID can promote the kid to win some awards this year. Then will cement himself near the top three. Touche. Ben says this dialogue you guys are centering around this kid isn't fair at all. If he just had a 1,037 yard season tomorrow, you guys would start saying he fell off. Just let the kid ball out and stop putting him in the Hall of Fame before he even finishes his career. Unnecessary pressure right now. I think that you're 100% right. But at the same time, I think it's okay to have these conversations. I think it's fine that sports fans talk sports things. It's centered around the favorite team that they have. And I think it's you can put statements like Jeremiah Smith will go down as the greatest wide receiver in Ohio State history if, and then you fill in the blank. Like I think making if then statements are fine as sports fans, and it's not unnecessary pressure. It's not any more pressure than he's already putting on himself. Trust me, or the pressure that the coaches are putting on him in practice. Like just because a couple of us jump on Twitter and make some statements or jump on a podcast and we have a podcast doesn't mean that Jeremiah Smith all of a sudden is, oh my gosh, I can't perform now because the pressure's just getting to me. That means he's weak mentally. This kid is not weak mentally. We all saw that. So, no, I don't think that that's true. And if pressure like that does affect you as an athlete, then you didn't have it between the ears to start with. That is a true statement. Zach, yes, if he keeps it up. Okay. LV, dang near already there. Chris remains to be seen too early. Wait until after year number 3. Chris, I think you're right. Eric, being the best player on a team that won a national championship as a freshman is an excellent start already. Agree 100%, Eric. If he just goes for 1,000 yards the next 2 seasons, this is an easy yes, not to mention a top 3, probably number 1 pick in the draft. Eric is putting some stats to it, so he's saying if he finishes over 3,000 yards receiving, which he will do very easily if he has 1,000 yards per season the next 2 seasons, and he's in the top of the NFL draft, then yeah, he's already there. And Eric, I think that those are expectations that are easy to put on this kid. Larry, if he stays at OSU, he will win every trophy, Heisman, and his jersey and number retired. His name will be etched on the shoe. He will live forever. Now that you all thought that just having this conversation was going to put unreal expectations on the kid. Look at that one. He's going in the Ring of Honor, says Larry. Zay says absolutely. Scott, he's already on it. Man, people would think he's already there. FTP Young Boy, already there. Mr. Fender, maybe a Heisman as well. Shannon Scott, he's already there, coming from a UM fan. Well, you wouldn't know, would you then, Shannon? That's crazy talk. Jason W, yes, 100%. Okay. Kyle Keller, he has to win a Heisman to get on there. Does he though? Pace didn't. Corey, without a doubt. 13 10, 30 24, 45 23, 42 27. Oh, cute, Jack. Very cute. I don't know, but I'd rank him somewhere between 13 and 10. Okay, that's good. That's uh, that's good. Okay. Zach already has. Blake, if he hasn't already, then yes. If his next 2 years are the same, if not better than his freshman year, without a doubt. Sign Stealer says depends on if you need to beat Michigan to make it. Gabe, already a champion and still has 2 years left? I believe so. But based off that, then every freshman who was on a national championship team is in it. Gabe, I mean, again, gotta go a little bit deeper than that. Graham, let's not jinx an injury. Ooh, Graham, don't even bring it up. Tommy, without a doubt. Altman season. He's already halfway there as a true freshman. Scott, I'm actually surprised he's going to stay at Ohio State. I thought for sure he'd go somewhere else for more NIL dough. Shlama? Shlama? He won't. He'll end up transferring. Okay, this guy's obviously a Notre Dame fan trolling. OSU Natty 2024. He will win a Heisman. Water guy. He's already on it. Donald Bell. Way too early to know. The story is still being written. Thank you for some levity there, Donald. Absolutely. All right. So as you guys see, man, the knee jerk reaction of a lot of fans who said he's already there. I can't get on that. I can't get on that train. I cannot get on board with that. He's got another 2 years in college. Let's see how those go because a lot of you who did the knee jerk reaction, absolutely yes, one word yes. What happens if all of a sudden he does transfer? Or what happens if he's injured? Or what happens if he decides he's going to sit out the postseason? All of you are going to change your tune immediately. There's a lot of things that could happen, right? So let's just let this play out. I think he's off to a great start as a freshman. Greatest freshman season in Ohio State history. No doubt about it. But let's see what happens. Let's see how the sophomore year goes. The statement of a sophomore slump is real for a reason, people. Let's see how things go his sophomore season. And then we'll revisit this maybe a year from now and see where he stands. But I do love the topic, Clinton, and thank you for sharing that on Twitter. And all of you, man, great response, dude. That was a lot of fun. Ephesians chapter 6, verse 10 is our verse of the day. Finally, my brethren, be strong in the Lord and in the power of his might. Have a great week, everybody. What do you all think? Is Jeremiah Smith already on the Mount Rushmore at Ohio State? If he isn't, who is? I, on my list, have Archie Griffin. I have Orlando Pace. Those are my top two. I can get on board with the Howard Hopalong Cassidy. If you're going to include coaches, you absolutely have to include Woody Hayes. But if you're not going to include coaches, then I think you have to go down the path of a Chris Spielman, Randy Gradishar, um, a maybe someone like that. Um, Troy Smith, Heisman winning quarterback, Troy Smith, someone of that nature. Um, Eddie George. is a possibility, right? Eddie George was on a lot of people's Heismans until the last decade or so, decade and a half, when you had the Zeke Elliott's and the J.K. Dobbins kind of rewrite a little bit of the record books on him a little bit. So is Eddie still there for some of you? You know, that's a question as well. Chris Carter was for a lot of people as well. These are all names that I think a lot of Ohio State fans would have to consider, right? So, what about you? Who is your Mount Rushmore if we're just doing players? Let me know in the comments section below. Have a great Monday, everybody. Enjoy your week. Let's absolutely crush this week, ladies and gentlemen. Let's have a good one. Be kind to one another. I owe someone's OH. And Carmen Ohio with all your heart. Till next time, you know what to do. Go Bucks.